What's going on, everyone? Imagine, if you will, a scenario in which you are a digital creator and you want to share your content, do your product overview, demonstrate your cooking recipe and technique from multiple different camera view angles. You want the front view, you want the side views, you want the top-down view. You need multiple cameras to do that, and they all need to wirelessly stream into a single source so that you can switch different views throughout your production. Well, today we're going to be unboxing, doing a product overview, and doing a demo of a product that lets you do exactly that. We'll be taking a look at the MEVO START 3-pack from Logitech for creators. Let's dig in. As we do this unboxing, it occurs to me that the only thing that would make this better is if we were doing the unboxing with the MEVO START 3-pack, so we could capture it from all different angles. Before we take everything out of the box, let's take a look at the outside of the box here. We got the MEVO START 3-pack. As we can see, it is a wireless streaming solution to capture content from any different angle. Taking a look at the back of the box, we get the concept here. You're capturing content from all different angles. You're broadcasting that back to your app. You can see you've got the 3 different angles covered, and then you have your live view here. We'll dig into all that as we get into our demo. Coming over to the side, we can see that this instantly streams to Facebook Live, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, Vimeo, and LinkedIn. We've got wirelessly streaming up to 1080p HD, pretty impressive. Remote control with MEVO Multicam App. So we'll use that Multicam app to remote control these devices. We've got up to 6 hours of battery life when we're using these in a wireless capacity, and then the advanced onboard audio. Finally, power and reliable wired networking over a single cable. Coming to the bottom of the box, we've got a whole bunch of different things in here, dimensions per camera, some specifics about the lens, power, video. I'm not going to get into all that. We know that we are streaming up to 1080p. That's the important part as far as I'm concerned. What is in the box is important. We've got 3 of the MEVO START cameras. We've got 3 6.5-foot or 2-meter USB-C to A cables. We got 1 microfiber lens cloth for cleaning off the lenses, and then of course our documentation. To open the box, we'll simply slide the red inner box from inside of the sleeve. We see that it is labeled with MEVO right up top. And then the top of this has a nice snug fit, but it lifts gently off. And we've got the 3 cameras sitting right up top. The cameras have a little flap right here where we can pull them up from, and we can see this is a plastic covering that will protect them. We'll remove that before we get started. Taking a look at the camera, again, we've got this protective wrapping here. We simply pull it back, and we can remove the plastic film that protects it. Then we get a nice view of the front of the camera. Again, 1080p streaming capabilities, LED indicator light right at the bottom, our standard threaded hole there to mount this onto a tripod, and then coming around to the back, we've got our power right up top. We've got the 3.5mm port right below it. We've got our USB-C port down here at the bottom, and then a micro SD card slot at the very bottom of the camera. Once the camera is out of the container, we remove the rest of the packaging here. We've got our user documentation contained in this handy little square item right here. We'll open that in a little bit. And then we've got 1 of 3 of our USB-C to USB-A cords. They are nicely wrapped up. We will remove each of these little bindings here so that we can get our cords unraveled. These again are 6.5 feet or 2 meters of cable for each one. USB-C to USB-A. Removing the other 2 cameras and removing the cardboard inserts there. We've got 1 more layer of cardboard, and then finally our other 2 USB-C to USB-A cables sitting right there as well. After getting the MEVO cameras unboxed, we need to get them charged. So I took 3 different tripods that I already had. Tripods are not included, so plan ahead for that. I mounted each of them pretty easy. There's a standard threaded hole at the bottom of each camera. You just screw that onto the top of the tripods, and then you take the 6.5-foot USB-A to USB-C cable and you plug the USB-C end into the camera for charging, and the USB-A end, and an available USB-A port on your laptop or a dock or somewhere where you can charge the camera. As you can see, all three cameras are mounted and charging. Right now the camera is off and we can see that the LED light right up front is not on. There is no light there. If we hold the power button down at the back for just a couple seconds, it blinks white as it turns on. Eventually it will turn to green when it is powered on and ready to be connected to and recorded with. Once you start recording with it, there's the green. Once you start recording with it, it'll actually turn red solidly, and that will indicate that you are in a recording. So yes, the camera's a very important part of the solution. We're getting content from all different angles, but we need to bring them back to a central source. We need some brains behind that to create a solid stream, maybe keep our streams separate and chop them up for use later on. This is part of the production layer. This is where we come in and get creative, right? That's where the MEVO Multicam app comes in. Taking a look at the app here on screen, we see that it is a wireless HD multi-camera streaming app. Available in the Apple iStore the Apple App Store or the Google Play Store. We've already covered some of this. You can instantly live stream to a number of places. This is a great landing page with a lot of information we kind of already talked about and covered. We kind of see a picture of the app here, all the different sources at the bottom with the stream up top. As we come on down, we see that we have a wired or wireless connection. We're going to be using wireless. We're going to connect to our Wi-Fi network, but you can select wired, and as you see here, you connect to the wired network with an Ethernet power adapter. This gives you power and data over a single connection to each of the cameras. We're not going that route, but just know that it's an option. So we're going to stick with wireless. We know that we can save a recording of the live stream to our phone, which is super great. We can pull that off of the phone later on, use it in a post-production manner if we want to. Maybe we're not streaming. Maybe we're just capturing content to put into an app like Camtasia and chop it all up after the fact. In that case, we'll want to grab that recording from our phone. Notice that is a live stream. It is all three brought together. Whatever was done in production, however they were put together during the stream, that is what you get after the fact. If you need all three individual streams to work with so that you can kind of do your own post-production, chopping, editing, slicing, all that good stuff, you want to put that micro SD card in each of the three cameras so that you can save the recording to those cameras, grab them afterwards, and do what you need to do. Keep that in mind depending on how you want to use these, streaming or recording for post-production. Coming on down a little further, we've got this auto director functionality. This is pretty cool. This will intelligently and dynamically switch between your camera feeds, keeps track of where your face is. You can set a couple settings so that it knows where the important angles to keep focus on are, but essentially you're trusting the app to use its built-in AI to decide when to change cameras, and then that stream that's produced in the end is what you're going to get from the auto director. So if you're going to go that route, great. You can take that. That's probably the training wheels route, I would say. Maybe it's really good. We'll test it out and see. But if you're not going to have someone physically doing the directing for you, this is going to be the next best route you're going to go with the auto director. If it's just you running the show, not able to stand behind a phone running production while someone is actually being recorded. We've got the audio mixer here, mixes audio from each of the MEVO's cameras' advanced onboard audio. You also can use an external mic with a 3.5mm port. Custom graphics can be added in for lower thirds and corner bugs. And then some coming soon pieces to call attention to here. Ndi integration, super useful if we want to stream into OBS, if you're used to using OBS. We've got video playback, picture-in-picture, that'll be cool. And then some advanced audio mixing as well. Now, we've already talked enough about what the app is. I've downloaded the app onto my phone. We're going to go ahead and pop it open. We see it open up. It says welcome to MEVO Multi-App, and we click on Get Started. Some important first steps. We got to turn on each MEVO camera. Then in the next screen, you're going to connect each camera to the local Wi-Fi. Then we'll keep improving the MEVO experience, so they recommend using the latest firmware. We want to keep our firmware up to date. So now we're going to say next on the app. We'll connect our MEVO cameras, so we're going to allow access to the location while using this app. Allow access to Bluetooth, continue. And there our third one is. Let's click setup here. Yes, I have Wi-Fi. We get a little tip at the bottom. Keep your MEVO cameras and mobile device within 100 feet of your access point. No problem in my office. With Wi-Fi connected, we say connect. Wi-Fi is now set up for the first one. So I'm gonna go ahead and say connect. And that one is connecting to the Wi-Fi network that I already previously connected to. That's awesome. We'll say connect there as well. We'll say connect there as well. Now they're all three connected to the Wi-Fi. We'll say continue. To add camera sources or graphics to our stream, we're gonna click on the blue plus button below. We'll say next. To start recording, we have a recording button right there. This is gonna keep a local copy, saved to the mobile device. And then finally, to start a live stream, we're gonna tap live button to enable your streaming destinations and go live. My demo is only gonna include the local copy. I'm not gonna be live streaming, so keep that in mind. I'm sure there's lots of other examples out on YouTube of that. And then we say start streaming, even though we're not gonna say start streaming. So here we go. We've got each of those cameras all kind of facing the backdrop that I've got back there in different directions. We've got, just by clicking on the individual streams, we see our main stream change. We can see the CPU load going on. Our input quality is 480p, and then we've got 20 gigs of free space there. Okay, so a quick demo of using the MEVO Multicam app. Before we start recording, I'll point out that I positioned all three cameras around my desk here. I've got my front-facing view, I've got a side profile shot here, and then I've got the other camera looking straight down at my phone so we can get a view of what's going on the phone while we're doing this. Before I click the record button and start actually recording, right over there, we're gonna go ahead and take a look at how we set up our recording. On our main screen here, this is our video library. We can add more camera or graphics here if we want to. I could add in lower thirds, there's over the shoulder, there's a full screen overlay, and there's a corner bug. If you go into lower thirds, you can specify your text, background, images in there, color opacity, all kinds of good stuff. We're gonna go ahead and say back. We're not that worried about doing this at this point, but that's how you would add graphics into your images. And we could add another camera. If we added an image in, it would be available here. I've already added some lower thirds, so if I tap the lower thirds, that shows up in the stream. Tap it and it goes away. Going over here, if we've got a camera, then we've got an audio source, and we can either mute or unmute the audio to have it be recorded in the recording. But we're gonna go ahead and get out of both of those. Before we get started on the recording button, we'll click the three dots to access our main menu. There's a number of things we can change in here about our recording. Our transition type is by default cut. You can do any of these other transitions. We're gonna leave those alone and just stick with cut. But if you choose these, you specify the duration and all that good stuff. Auto director, this will essentially go and cycle through and find the appropriate camera angle based on AI. It'll identify your face, etc., and it will choose the right screen. We're gonna keep it off, but if you did keep it on, you could select your preferred shots, up to 2 preferred shots, and you could set the time, the duration between cuts. We've got 3 seconds up all the way up to 3 minutes. Right now it is set at 30 seconds. I'm not gonna do auto director because well, you know what, let's do that. Let's go down to 3 seconds. Let's turn it on. I'm not gonna select preferred shots, and we'll go back out. And before we look at our other menu items, watch. Every 3 seconds here, it is cutting, it's auto-directing, it's going to the different shots based on whatever the AI tells it to do. Every 3 seconds, it's determining, is there another shot that's more important? Let's go to that. If you leave it at 30 seconds, then it'll sit tight for 30 seconds. Let's go back in, go to auto-director, turn that off. We're not gonna use that in our sample recording, but that's how you edit it. Crop settings. Whole bunch of different settings in here that you can modify. We're not gonna mess with them for our recording, but that's where they are. Camera input. Now, I want my camera input to be 1080p. I want it to be good quality. The default was 480, and you've got several other settings. This says changing the setting will cause the camera to reconnect, so keep that in mind. Then video source latency. You can go low, high, or leave it at standard. I'm going to leave it at standard for now. And then of course we've got about, which tells us the app version and our open source licenses and support. We'll go ahead and come back out here. We've got our main screens again. We're no longer cutting every 3 seconds. And one thing I want to change before we get into it, I want a closer view on this particular image because we're a little far away from the phone. So we click the 3 dots there. We say crop and zoom. And we're just going to tighten this image up by moving our fingers together in. And we'll go right into the bottom and top of the phone. That'll give us, no, we don't want that. Right to about there. We say done. And now we've got a more up-close view of the phone when we're in that camera angle. Also, if you go in here, you've got image adjustments. These are things like normal, custom, stage, backlight, HDR off, camera mode is auto. A lot of different things in here if you know what you're doing with messing with your camera settings. I'll tell you this, I'm not one of those people, so we'll leave it alone. We can do that in any one of these different images coming in, and we are set up at that point to record. So if we go record, we now are prompted to say, hey, record the device. How big do you want to record this? We're going to say, hey, 1080p, please. So now we got 1080p. If we were recording to our SD cards, they would be going to 1080p, but we don't have them. And when all that's in place, we can say start recording. At this point, we are recording. We'll have to stop the recording by pushing the record button, but we would go and swap out our camera views so that we're recording at different angles. Now we're going to the side. Now we're going back to the front. Now we're going to go over to our graphics and add in some upper thirds, as it were. They have a little bit of transparency, as the YouTube channel name up there. Now we're going to tap it again to remove those, and we'll go back to our video, and we'll come back to the side, and we'll go to our phone. There you go. That would be the production that would be going on in the background. So if you are supposed to be in front of the camera not doing anything, then it's going to be kind of hard for you to sit there and be the director. That's where the auto director capability might serve you well, and you may want to use that. Otherwise, if you've got someone else running the app behind the scenes, they'll do all the editing and editor stuff on the fly so that you don't have to worry about it. Cutting the different views, all that good stuff. So that's the demo. Let's hit record, stop, and it lets us know your recording was saved to the device's gallery. And there you go, creators, the MEVO Start 3-pack. For more information about this setup, please check out the link on screen. And if you found the video helpful, please splash it all around all the social medias, and do subscribe at the link below if you are not already subscribed. Thank you. I hope we'll see you back here for the next product overview.